Man who has suffered from 100 orgasms a day for past 2 years.
Are we leaving this in?
We can.
Because it sounds like that dude left it in 100 times per year.
It's a lot.
Anyways, welcome to Smartly Uneducated, everybody. I am Ben, one half of the lovely host set up in here, and here is Mr. Evan.
Hey.
He wanted to
Welcome
give you,
to Smartly Uneducated. I'm Evan.
He wanted to give you one of his back shots.
Nope.
You
Absolutely
just
nope.
had a back
Nope.
shot.
No, I did not.
You did.
No, I did not.
You turned around.
No. Yes, I did turn around, but
Boom, back shot, baby.
the shot.
Why were you going to such an inappropriate place?
The shot of my back.
Well, if you think about it, I was at this point of view, and then when it switched to you, your back was that way. Back shots, baby.
Well, if you think about it, we're all circumference around the world. Everything is facing one direction. If I'm looking one way, it's still the front of me. Even if you only see the back of me, if you look around the globe, you'll see my front. If you think about it.
If you think about it. Wow. Anyways, we have a fun episode today.
We do.
Yeah. We are doing an episode on subliminal messaging. We actually did this episode once before.
Yes, we did.
A long time ago, but that was on a different platform. It was on an old platform that no longer exists.
But you keep talking about it.
Well, yeah, man, it's memory lane. I do have good memories in that old platform.
Very
That's
cool.
about as far as
yeah,
it
very
goes.
cool. Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've done this before because I think it's important to be aware of what you're ingesting on a regular basis. You'll find yourself watching a movie and then be craving McDonald's or craving food or drinks or beer or what have you, right? It's because they're shoving this sort of mindset into your brain. Somebody who may have never wanted to smoke a cigarette, all of a sudden might be craving a cigarette because of the movie or the sport event that they're watching, because they're shoving these images and ideas down your throat and into your brain at all times. Don't you smile at that fucking sentence.
I don't know what the fuck are you talking about?
Drink that beer down your throat, would you? And cheers to Guinness for always sponsoring an episode of Smartly Uneducated.
Always sponsoring. Always doing
Drink
it.
responsibly.
Yes.
Anyway. Gulp.
Gulp. Yeah, so no, we did the episode before, but subliminal messaging is a very real thing. There's a lot of it's strangely enough, there's articles that are out there trying to say that subliminal messaging is false.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't work. And we already know that's not true. That's why they still do it now. Hence why the modern take, and we'll get into this part a little bit later, but like the modern version of subliminal messaging now has evolved into, like, since everyone has a phone on them, I'm sure the listeners, any of you listeners probably have experienced. I know you've experienced, we've talked about it. I mean, we all have experienced it where you could be talking about something with your friend. Let's say you're talking about a video game, or maybe you could be talking about baskets, like, hey, I want to buy some new baskets for my house to store this stuff in, or it could literally be anything. And all of a sudden you're on your phone, maybe 10 minutes later, and you're scrolling, and all of a sudden baskets, there's ads for baskets. And then it brings that other part of you out, like, because you were just talking about it, and you're like, oh yeah, man, I need to get this. I just was talking about this. Oh, awesome. Boom, bought it. That's the new version of subliminal messaging. It's not even.
That's fair.
You can't really say it's it's partially subliminal and partially not, because now the digital world is involved in it more than it ever was. So that's where we're at in modern times. That's one of the ways it's done, is because you have a device in your pocket that's listening to you at all times. Like
subliminal messaging, I guess that's. I see that as like target advertisement, right? But if you're unaware that you're being advertised to at 24/7 basis through your devices, also in your car and your phone and your dishwasher, if it's attached to Wi-Fi, is listening to you as well, right?
Yeah.
So if you are unaware that this is a thing that occurs on a regular basis, then yeah, you will be subliminally advertised to that.
Yeah.
And that's why I like to talk about these things, because we need to bring attention to them. That's why we talked about Larry Fink, BlackRock, all these individuals like the WEF and MK Ultra. That's why we talk about these things. The serial killer truck drivers. We talk about these things because I think it's very important to bring them to light so people are aware and do with that knowledge as they will.
Yep.
If they want to learn how to turn their phone off or go to the unmanaged websites for cell phones, because you can go buy a cell phone that is off the database. I think it's called unmanaged.com for the web for the cell phone that's unhackable and untraceable and all this sort of thing.
Yeah.
So-
Before we get take off into subliminal messaging, to just diving right in, because obviously we're already starting to do it. Real quick, I want to give a couple shout outs to our TikTok support, our channel in general, the people who follow us, because dude, we've been getting a lot of good interaction on TikTok with people. Especially the one you posted the other day, one with BlackRock,
Yeah.
where we're talking about ESG and everything like that. And there's a lot of people commenting on there. Obviously, there's people who do follow this narrative, this topic, and I thought it was awesome that there was the comments that were going on in that recent TikTok that you uploaded to the channel.
Yeah.
I love the interaction that was happening, because there was people who were aware, like they're actually, keeping their ear to the ground on some of the stuff. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, there were some people who are not, but that's only because they're not hearing about it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think a lot of people are hearing about it.
I think most people are not hearing about it in their day-to-day life. Like they go to the grocery store, they go to their Whole Foods, their Trader Joe's, their Walmart, their Kroger's, and then they go home and then they put on Netflix to watch their favorite TV show, and then they go to bed and do it all again the next week and next day. They don't consider the underlying factors that are being pushed into their brain to keep them sort of dumb, I guess for lack of a better word, at the moment, dumb and satiated.
Yeah, I'd like to give to anyone who dives into the whole like BlackRock stuff or just conspiracies in general, especially when because the BlackRock thing is a conspiracy, but not a conspiracy as in it's half cocked, like it's there's not evidence of it. No, like it's still technically a conspiracy because they're conspiring, just due to the definition of it, right? And I only say that because you say the word conspiracy and people go a certain direction in their head, and
Yeah, tinfoil hat, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I want to give some advice to anyone who digs into stuff, because I'm at this point again. So I always have to like reset myself in a way. The more I dive into things like this in modern, like that have to do with like what we're dealing with right now, and we're all as a collective, as citizens and just people existing in this world, sometimes you just gotta, you can't forget you're still a human being. Like you still have to interact with people, because I find myself getting to the point, and I realized I was at that point this past week, where you start to disconnect yourself from people around you, like society in general, because you know about these things going on, and it starts putting a narrative in your own head of like, the narrative gets played in your own head instinctually of like, well, all this shit's going on, blah, 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 and you just kind of get consumed into it, and then you start ignoring everyone around you. And it's not trying to ignore them, it's more of, it's kind of like having blinders on, and you get this weird place in your head. I get that way. And so, like, I'm pulling myself back out of it. It happens to me. Like, it's a rinse and repeat process,
Yeah, yeah.
So I've been trying to pull myself out of it. So my advice to everyone is to, these things, especially like stuff like BlackRock, you can't control any of that. In fact, there was a comment I responded to saying like, like what can we, there's got to be something we can all do to stop this. That was a comment that happened on there. And I just said, I was like, it's kind of hard to do anything about it. Because they have, there's power in all these different governing places, and all the layers of power. They have all these different placements in each one of them across the board. So it's like, it's kind of hard to do anything about it. Most you can do is be vocal and just shit like what we're doing, like spreading the knowledge about it, talk about it, because the more people who become aware, that's where momentum gets built. So that's really the extent of what you can do, is like be vocal, publicize it.
I think it's more than that. I think there's more that you can do. I don't think it's hard.
No, I'm saying like right now. I'm talking about starting it. Like
No,
you have to
I think
be
it's
vocal.
easy. I
Well,
think
what
it's
do you mean?
I think it is easy to make a change. And we are doing that by spreading the information that we come across and that we find. That's the easy part. And then it gets a little more difficult whenever you start trying to actually activate these things. Where
Well, that's what I'm talking about. That's the hard part.
correct. And I still find it easy. There's an easy solution to fix BlackRock, to fix Vanguard, to fix the government and corporate corruption. It's making laws to where lobbying is illegal. If you can make lobbying illegal, then it will fix a lot of issues when it comes to paying government officials to pass laws that you can't get sued, and passing laws to where Disney's allowed to kill people if they've ever signed up for Disney Plus. And
Yeah.
so there are ways to fix it that's relatively easy, and it all starts with the local government and then it builds up from there.
I
You
know-
can't
I
just
know-
go straight to the big government, you know.
I agree with you. And we'll move on from this, but I agree with you, but I also disagree. Mainly because, like, yeah, like what you laid out in theory, yes, that is, there is an easy solution. Like, it's an easy concept, process in that regard. But where it is challenging and difficult, where being able to step over those hurdles to be able to execute the easy part, like getting that going, would be the execution part, like getting it into that position. That's the hard part. Mainly because when you have governing bodies that have those people in it, they make whatever laws they want. And that's where it gets challenging.
And this is
So
my
the
announcement where I'll be running for Senate office here in Texas. I am running on the point of anti-lobbyist. If you want me to be your leader.
What was that? You want me to be your leader? You know what? The smartly uneducated cabinet is here.
Yeah, dude.
SU administration, baby.
Running on anti-lobbyist mindset. But yeah, I mean, if you're wondering what, let there be light.
I fixed it. It was all messed up.
If you're wondering what you can do, what is there a solution to anything? We have to find local leaders and people in our immediate community who are willing to put their foot forward to stand against something wrong, right? That's really hard to do because it's very easy to get corrupted and very easy to be manipulated whenever you start getting a little bit of power. So you have to find people who have strong willpower, who believe what is right. So, yeah.
Yeah.
All in all, there's an easy
Yeah.
solution. Make lobbying illegal in the government house. So that's the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
Man.
I agree with that. Moving on. Let's jump into subliminal messaging.
We were also supposed to have a guest on today.
We were. There was some things that she had to reschedule. She had some things happen, which we wish her the best. Hopefully she's good.
Yeah.
We're not going to share any of the details of
absolutely
that, just because that's her own personal business and stuff. But, I'm sure whenever she comes on, she'll share whatever she feels like sharing. But we are excited to have her on here
Whenever.
in the near future
Yeah.
at some point. But yeah, hopefully, wishing the best for her. We're going to call her JH, just because I don't know if she wants us to use her name until she's on here yet.
That's fair.
So shout out to you, JH. There
We
go.
see you.
We see you.
Yeah. Hi.
Subscribe.
So over to subliminal messaging, huh?
Yes.
It is a very real and used thing in our society that is still happening. It was brought to light, I believe, in the 20s, I want to say, the early 19th century.
Century.
Century. Is that how I said it?
Yeah, it started back as early as the 19th century, yeah.
Yeah. I believe it was this, Fechner and subliminal perception in the 1860s. Gustav Fechner, a German psychologist, was one of the first people to study the relationship between physical stimuli and the brain perception, laying a foundation for the subliminal research that we know today.
Yep, and he laid that groundwork for the that subliminal perception in 1860.
Yeah, man.
I don't know if you said the date, the actual
60s
year-ish.
is-
Yeah, 1860 is when apparently he did that. So, yeah. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fantastic. You're always great, Ben.
Thanks. Thanks, man.
And then it got more traction in the 1920s and then into the 1940s from Freud, the unconscious influences. They grew alongside of all of his studies and that like.
Mm-hmm.
You can find the market side of subliminal messaging. About 1950 is whenever it became into our modern myth that people see more and more if you just pay a little bit more attention to your surroundings and your everyday experience. Uh, Advertisements on billboards, you can see it.
There was a lot going on during World War II.
Oh, absolutely.
There was cartoons, like in the cartoons they would do of like Daffy Duck and things like that. They would have him walk through holding a thing saying buy bonds in the on screen, even though they're not running an ad for buying bonds. Like war, all that crap. Because they had like legitimate advertisements for that, back in the day, in World War II for buying bonds. But then they were like, hey, we want to outreach as much as possible. Let's like get this really sunk into people's heads. And so they started putting it into like the the Daffy Duck Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, all that crap. They were putting it into the cartoons, and you see Daffy Duck. There's literally, the cartoon is still up there. You can look it up.
Yeah.
I'm not going to play it because it's on YouTube and we'll get slapped for it. But basically, like, Daffy Duck walks through. It's either Daffy Duck or Bugs Bunny, and he's holding, that deal, and it says, buy bonds, And this is a kid's cartoon.
Yeah.
There's that was it. It was just thrown in there. And what happened? Every little kid was just like, Dad, we got to buy some bonds. Well, sorry, Dad was at war. Mom, we got to buy some bonds.
Yeah, there's a lot of subliminal messaging that happened around that era that you were just mentioning about. They referred to it as codename Ultra whenever you would hear talks between the Japanese to Americans talking about Nazi movement through cryptological messaging to one another, CIA's intelligent organizations. That probably is what ended up stemming into MK Ultra. If I were to sort of connect some dots there, overlying the factor plays into deeply the MK Ultra mindset of subliminal messaging, so that you are able to hear things and then immediately forget about it, but it is still in the back of your brain. It's seeing faces in trees is another concept that our brain is able to do with its own subliminal mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Our brain sees faces in everything, right? It
Mhm.
looks for something. And the psychologists take that mindset and put it toward companies and
Yeah.
the market research behind that to make people want to buy more things. You don't need a new couch, but because there's a new model, you're going to buy that new couch. You don't need a new car, but because there's a new model and everybody's buying the new vehicles, you now want a new vehicle. You don't need these things.
Mhm.
It's a thing that's forced upon you to make you believe that you need it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And did you say James Vickery?
I do
You're-
not think I did talk about him yet.
So James Vickery, he had a pretty famous experiment in 1957.
Mhm.
The idea of subliminal messaging, it all took a pretty significant leap forward in the 1950s with the now famous and supposedly later debunked experiment by marketing researcher James Vickery. He claimed to have embedded subliminal messages in a movie theater by flashing the words "drink Coca-Cola" and "eat popcorn" for mere milliseconds. So
Yeah.
like it was one frame in the film reel. During the screening, according to Vickery, this led to increased sales of both products. Although it was later revealed that his results were, they tried to say it was fabricated. Now, the weird thing is that we already know that happening, because they still do very similar things, right? And we know that it works. I think his stuff was right. They tried to say it was fabricated, but that was only because at that time, and the people who said it was fabricated was actually the government.
Mhm.
It wasn't like independent researchers. It was the government who said that. And that's because the government was doing things with subliminal messaging. They're like, shut the fuck up. Oh, debunk that shit. Say it's fake. Because we don't want people to know that we're doing that. Because if they know that subliminal messaging is something that works, that could turn, that could work against us. And we don't want that.
Yeah.
Because they had, hence MK Ultra was
There-
another thing.
There's
you know.
that
So
I just brought up.
that was one of the other things behind it, because they had projects they were doing that were off the books that were utilizing that, the subliminal messaging aspect. So,
Do you
yeah.
know if James Vickery was a part of any sort of government entity? I couldn't find anything on that.
I didn't see anything about him being a part of a government entity.
Only because there is that famous image of the black and white movie of the woman with curly hair. She's a white woman, and it says "Hungry, eat popcorn," which is what you were just referring to with the split second sort of imagery and words that would then make you want to stand up and go buy popcorn. They have a still image of that video that was released, and it has become very pop culture-esque and memed, if you will. It says "Hungry, buy popcorn." And it is just a split second clip of the woman standing on the screen with it all over her. So that is a very real thing that you need to be paying attention to. George Bush used it in his political campaigns. A lot of leaders use it to this day. So just pay attention a little bit more, I guess.
Yeah. And then also the whole thing I said about they didn't want people to know that that subliminal messaging works.
Yeah.
In the through the 50s into the 60s, despite Vickery, James Vickery, and then they tried to come out and claim that his stuff was fabricated, because it was from a government body.
He also said that too, didn't he? He said, he's like, no, it's all fake.
Yeah, he came out later and tried to say that, and that was well after the government did their part.
Of course, yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it's because why he ended up coming out and saying it again was because there was enough public outcry at this point, because there was a lot of fear going on. So basically it sparked a whole bunch of widespread concern throughout, like, just everyday people throughout the late 50s in the 60s, and people feared that subliminal messaging could be used to manipulate what we're thinking, and particularly through advertising and like political campaigns. And so people got all worried that that's what the government was doing. And so the government came out twice as hard saying, no, it doesn't work. It's fake. It's all fabricated. They can't control your brains. And then Vickery came out shortly after that and was like, yeah, I made it all up. Yeah, it sounds like
bullshit.
It sounds like someone went and knocked on his fucking front door.
Yep.
It's like, okay, that's why they kept doing the popcorn ad thing and people kept buying more and more. Like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, all because television and film media became so much more popular. This is the uprising of it, right? People started to have their own sort of conspiratorial mindset back then, that they're trying to control your mind in any sort of facet, and then that brings to the attention of why the FCC decided to ban the use of subliminal messaging if it doesn't work, right?
Yeah, and get this, I have something on the FCC right here.
Hell yeah, bring it up.
So FCC investigation and ban in the U.S. So all the controversy surrounding subliminal advertising led the Federal Communications Commission, the FCC, to investigate its potential impact. So in 1958, the FCC declared that subliminal messaging was contrary to public interest. And with the result of that was subliminal advertising was effectively banned from the U.S. broadcast media. The reason why they chose to ban it is because the FCC did a full investigation, and they found that almost every single large company was putting some subliminal images in everything they were doing, and they had been doing it for they said it went back almost 15 to 20 years.
Yeah.
So it had been going on well before James Vickery was doing it. And all of those products, the moment, and they even in their investigation, which they didn't publicize in the public media, the findings of their investigation, but according to their actual logs and the details that they wrote up, is that in the investigations that they did, that they saw that there was a spike in product purchases the moment that they started doing subliminal messaging inside of all of their advertisements. Not even just necessarily like an advertising you see on a billboard. It was more of like, all of a sudden there was a advertisement on, or sorry, not advertisement. They would put an image within an image, and and then they took they did their whole documentation thing and did a compare and contrast, and saw that the moment that was happening, there was a spike in sales
Yep.
from, like, because they know what their demographic, because they were keeping tabs on what their demographic is, who buys what from where, all that crap. But the moment they started doing that, they noticed that there was purchases coming in from outliers, like people who would never really buy the product, and it was spiking. It's because of subliminal messaging. It was showing that it did work, and so they banned it. They were like, "Oh, yep, well, we found we're gonna ban it." So yeah, that's what I got on the FCC.
It's crazy, right? I mean, they talked about how the Vicary subliminal messaging didn't really do anything, and that's why they wanted to ban it, right?
But yet, when the FCC investigated it, it went back before that, and it was
Yeah.
working.
And yeah, the eat popcorn, drink Coca-Cola was only 1/3000th of a second. Christ, that's difficult to
Jeez.
say. Holy
Dude.
shit.
What are you, fucking
1/3000th.
What are you thinking? Sparkle tongue over there?
Sparkle tongue. But yeah, it's 1/3000th of a second. That's really difficult for me to say, apparently. It spiked Coca-Cola's sales of just their beverages by 18% and the popcorn sales by 60%.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't work, does it? But after he started doing it, it brought it into fruition. And then the FCC is like, hey, wait a minute, don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And now they continue to do that. I'm just going to break that sort of cherry real quick. They still do it today. They refer to it as subtle suggestions instead of just straight up subliminal messaging. You'll see it on F1 racing cars where you see the barcode of the Marlboro cigarette packaging. So you subliminally want to go smoke cigarettes and get used to seeing the cigarettes. Wendy's got caught doing it. They put a dollar bill inside of their dollar sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
Inside the lettuce of the image, there is literally just a dollar bill photoshopped onto it. So you know that it only costs 99 cents or $1.
Mm-hmm.
It's in everything you see. It's in Disney movies. It's in TV shows. It's everywhere. Batman does it. You name it, right? I know the Ninja Turtles were guilty of it.
Ninja Turtles.
They would eat Pizza Hut, right? So then you would go and buy Pizza Hut because the Turtles did it. It's just things like that is still subliminal messaging. Yeah, it's referred to as
dude, it worked every time when I was a kid. And I was
paid advertisements, right?
Oh yeah, dude. When I was a kid and I watched the original, very first TMNT movie with live action, which is fucking awesome, by the way. Damn, because he loses his side. Anyways, damn.
There it is. There it is.
Ow. So basically, I just remember when I was a kid watching that, man. Like, the subliminal message totally worked in that movie because, Raph was my favorite character, and when he would get mad, I'm like, God, I'm fucking mad right now.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, Raph, go get some April O'Neil pussy. Come on, go get it. I always thought there was gonna be a thing when I was a kid. When I watched that movie, I was like, "Oh, is there like a relationship about to happen between these two?"
Even at 7 years old, Ben was into it.
I was confused. I was like, "What's happening right now?" But then it was like Casey fucking Jones came in. I was like, "Oh, dog, you got no chance, Casey fucking Jones."
That's a human.
You don't fuck with. Yeah, he's got a human anatomy, so one, he's got an advantage. But then two, it's Casey fucking Jones.
Yeah, Casey
bro.
Jones, badass.
Casey motherfucking Jones.
That's who I wanted to be when I was growing up.
Oh yeah, dude. I was just like the moment I
Homeless
saw
hockey player.
that, moments I saw that, I was just like, I need a hockey mask. Not for Jason vibes, but for vigilante vibes.
For Casey Jones vibes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude. Casey fucking Jones.
And subliminal messaging is like aimed toward children and young adults as well. It's not really aimed toward the 40-year-old, 30-year-old, although we as adults are able to be manipulated in our own right. It's aimed toward children so that the adults go spend the money for the kids who want to have the new Air Force Ones or the newest phone, newest shirt, because their favorite celebrity wears it or what have you in that regard.
In fact,
right?
I would like to show some images as an example.
Oh, please. Yeah. Is this the, look, it's the referenced thing.
So let me make this a little bit bigger here.
I referenced this a minute ago. This is one of the F1 racing vehicles that have the Marlboro barcode attached to it. Those of you over in audio medium land, it's an F1 car that's bright red Ferrari style, and on the fin of the vehicle is the barcode that is on the
Yep.
bottom of a Marlboro pack of cigarettes.
Now let me show you that Marlboro pack of cigarettes, because you have to remember this is a still image, but when it's driving by, this is what it looks like. This is what your eyes will perceive when it's driving by on the track. So let me make that a little bit bigger.
So for those of you over in audio land, we have 4 images here. You have the barcode that is attached to the F1 vehicle, the legitimate Marlboro logo right next to it, and then the blurred image that you are seeing.
Yeah, the
as
third
it's
from the
driving
right.
by you.
Yeah, the third from the right is what it looks like when it's driving, and you can see the relation to the one on the far right and how much it looks like the Marlboro pack of cigarettes.
Yeah, the logo, right?
Yeah.
Clean as day, clear as day. You can find out what that is. If you see it in a gas station, if you see it on billboards, you're gonna know what that is right away.
And then here is the there's one more I have, and this is actually Coca-Cola.
Oh, good God!
Yeah,
I forgot about this one.
Yeah, this is the. Let me make it a little bit bigger.
So Coca-Cola got a lot of flack for this one. Children, close your eyes. Get out of the room.
But look, if you look at that image on the left-hand side of the image, it's got, Coca-Cola bottle. It says, feel the curves. That's not really the subliminal messaging part. The subliminal messaging part is actually lower down in the ice cubes, and what you can see zoomed in on the right-hand side. You can see it looks like
an active fellatio.
Yes, looks like someone's getting ready to have a nice ice pop inserted into the oral area for deliciousness. Congrats.
An erect cylindrical object.
Yes, I don't know if you've overlooked it yet, but just look a little harder. Let me just zoom in a little more, baby.
It's quite obvious.
As you can see in the bottom right-hand corner of that image. Just focus on that ice cube in the bottom right-hand corner. Look at that. That is very, I think that's a very large ice pop for the face that's in the right-hand corner. That's a little bit pretty large of an ice pop for that face. If only I was that well endowed.
I don't like that I'm on the camera here.
If everyone looked, you can just see the eyes of that guy from Smartly Uneducated. And there's that thing down in the bottom corner. He's trying to find it. Anyways, that's.
But yeah, so Coca-Cola got a lot of flack for that, and they had to backtrack and delete the advertisement from posts and magazines and things of that ilk. But there have been lots of subtle suggestions like that have been found in media and advertisements of all these large conglomerations that we know today. And they were trying to say that the new plastic bottles that they were releasing were curvy and nice to touch and easy to hold, but really they were saying that you should go have sex. There is a plain as day sexual act on the advertisement.
Yeah, and then there's been many other, not even just Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Dr. Pepper, the works, they all had different forms of subliminal messaging. In fact, I couldn't find a picture because I was trying to find it last night. I couldn't find a proper picture that you could actually like clean up. It looked like people were trying to scrub it. They didn't want people to know about it. There's references to it when it comes to Dr. Pepper, because it was.
What are you talking about?
A woman named Pepper in a cartoon, like a cartoon strip you would see in like newspapers and stuff. There was a woman named Pepper going to see the doctor. And the reason why the name of the thing was Dr. Pepper was because there was illicit acts happening, which you didn't realize were happening because it wasn't clear as day. It was actually the entire photo, the entire strip, comic book strip. If you took all the it was like 4 or 5 like cutout squares of this like comic strip in a newspaper, and if you took them and put them together and then put it away from your eyes and kind of squinted, it looked like a female crouched down, obliging the doctor below the belt.
I see. It's like one of those magic eyes. Just a nice
I
long
like how
pause.
I like how I went out of my way to like avoid being exploitive deleted type thing, and then I was just like,
Fuck it.
blowjobs.
We're gonna say it.
Well, I'm not saying a curse word, a word of curse. I'm just saying blowjobs.
Jobs of blow.
Yeah, job blows, job blows, belt.
That seems
Job
to be
blow
a
belt.
very
Belt blow job.
a very common factor in the subliminal messaging thing.
Yes.
Coca-Cola did it. Pepsi's done it. Dr. Pepper did it. Why is all
A
these
lot of those
soda
corporate,
brands?
I think a lot of those guys up in corporate, they're really overweight and fat and probably don't really have a good, they probably don't have a wife that likes them very much because they're probably douchebags and they're just like, I need more blowjobs.
Is that why Bill Clinton got one in the Oval Office?
What?
Is that what?
Oh, you said Bill Clinton. For some reason, in my head, all I heard was Bill Gates, and I'm like, he probably owns a lot of Gates.
He probably owns a private island that is
He's
full
been
of
to Epstein's Island.
illegal
Womp.
shit.
Yeah, guys, you're using your operating system that you're using. That guy's been there many times.
Oh God.
He has a fetish for hearing the Windows reboot sound. That was his thing. He would have midgets walk in with boom boxes. That's what he was doing.
That's the guy who had the ailment of having orgasms 100 times a day. It was Bill Gates.
That's a lot of creamy Gates.
Oh God.
Oh,
How do we get into here? What happened? What happened here?
Subliminal messaging.
What's happening?
So stupid.
There's a lot of political advertisements as well that did it. George Bush has been found plain as day
Yep.
guilty of doing subliminal advertisements. There was a 30-second advertisement that he had playing on national television that simply said the opposing political party were rats in humongous bold lettering for just a brief second. That
Back
then,
in like 2000, right?
it was the year 2000, yeah. That then went into the word bureaucrats, but it said rats, bureaucrats.
You know what? Just to add into that, since we mentioned something political, both parties do that. Just so everyone's aware, it's not just it wasn't just George Bush's campaign. Was it George Bush's campaign, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't just George Bush's campaign, which would have been Republican, right? The Democrats were doing it too. Every political party, every entity was doing anything kind of entity of power or needed some type of sway or convincing or needed something from the public. That was being done. And it's still being done today. Like just the other day, I woke up, I was like, God damn, I want some Cheetos. And it was all because I saw an animal that looked like a fucking Cheeto, like the Cheeto cat guy.
I woke up the other day and I really wanted an orange because people keep talking about how Donald Trump's orange.
Orange, you glad I didn't say banana?
I think it's time we end the show, guys.
Knock, knock. Who's there? Someone who's not funny.
Lyndon B. Johnson is guilty of doing it as well for the Daisy ads. He had a girl picking flowers off petal of a daisy.
You know who? You know what's another victim of subliminal messaging is actually the UFO community.
I believe that.
And that bums me out so hard. And it was actually something that was done in the it was during Alan Hynek's reign when he was still doing Project Blue Book. He openly talks about how they would do these like debunking campaigns where they would intentionally put out like subliminal kind of images and reports on UFOs and aliens to the government to get people to say that they saw this or or could have swore they saw this over here or whatever, to make people look uncredible. So there was literally a debunking campaign of subliminal messaging to debunk to put out the narrative that the people who claim to see UFOs or aliens or any of that nature were loonies.
Yeah.
And not in the right mind. That was a real thing that was happening as well. So it literally has affected every single. Oh, Kevin, you gotta stop burping on
Who's
camera.
Kevin? You just called me Kevin.
I said Evan.
Who the heck?
I was in the middle of finishing a burp.
I don't spill beans.
Less word good. Dude, I love the
I
Office.
mean, we can talk about political campaigns and their use of advertisements
Can we-
quite a lot more. But yeah, the UFO thing, right? That's
that
what
it affects every area. It's not just one avenue. It's not just like politics. It's not just corporations. It's
food, it's gas,
it's everything.
shoes, it's
Yeah,
clothes, it's phones, electronics, computers, you
Yeah.
name it.
yeah. The Go Green initiative is part
They
of it
have
as well.
taken over your mind.
Oh
They
yeah.
have done it. They play advertisements through Alexa. They play advertisements through YouTube that are put into your brain. There are like sleep playlists that are on Spotify and YouTube that will run ads every certain amount of time to specifically target you while you sleep so you are easily brainwashed because you are in a very
You can
oh
take
God, I hate
well,
it so much.
You can take the narrative of subliminal messaging and work it into a positive though.
Okay.
So what I did for a long time, and this is on a deeper level, right? Like for personal use. So back when I was trying to navigate dealing with like basically depression type situations in my life, you know what I ended up doing from research, after researching stuff about it and getting really kind of like eyeballs deep in psychology, was playing. I had soundtracks that I made where it was theta waves,
Mm-hmm.
right? But inside those theta waves, I would put in vocal tracks of a person, basically saying like, things that aren't your fault, that are truly not your fault, things you can't control. But the thing is, when you listen to the tracks, when you're awake, you can't hear it. It blends in with the theta waves.
You sent me those one time, Ben, and I was listening to your theta waves, and it just kept saying, "You're not gay. You are not gay.
For Ben,
you're not
gay. For Ben,
Ben, you are not gay.
Ben, you're not gay.
Over
not gay no more.
it was like 30 hours of that. It was amazing.
Yeah, man, it worked, dude. I'm straight as a fucking freeway now, dude.
Well, okay, don't be
Yeah,
going
dude.
to Texas. Them freeways are crooked as hell, brother.
Dude, there's a lot of loops in those motherfuckers. I tell you what. Yeah, but no, seriously, that is something that is proven to actually work, because theta waves, one, help your brain, especially through meditative uses, but then two, when you add in that extra addition to it, because if you're conscious and you listen to it, you can't hear the words.
No.
Like, I think maybe in moments you might be able to think you heard something, but I would listen to it when I go to sleep.
Yeah.
I would listen to it while I was asleep. I would literally put on headphones.
I've been doing so. Well, I want to talk about this later on. Remind me about frequency that I've been doing. So
You found the gay frequency.
I did, dude. It's 6969, dude. It's really fucking loud.
No wonder you gave me that real gay fucking look this morning when you showed up. I didn't even get it on camera.
I know. I love it.
That's the gayest look you've ever given me. I feel worried. This is a small studio, everybody. This table's not that far apart.
I can high five him right now.
Stay awake. Just kidding. Stranger danger. So stupid. So stupid. Moving on.
But moving on.
Let's talk about some musical aspect.
So they used subliminal messaging a lot in motivational sort of speeches as well. There's a lot of audiobooks that are meant to boost you up to be good, right? To make you think you're stronger, more confident. That's another form of brainwashing and another form of subliminal messaging, right? You
Yeah.
say it can be used in good. That's a great way to use it. If you are able to train your brain to think that you are strong, powerful, confident, even though you are some lack thereof individual,
Mhm.
you will become better. You will become better in that regard. But
Mhm.
if you just keep listening to people say that you are weak, you are nothing, you are this, you are that, or you listen to music that's like that, you watch movies and read books that are sad and depressing all the time, then you're going to be a sad, depressed individual. Energy and cognitive usage is very powerful in that regard.
Or Rigar. Oh, we got a pirate.
Right.
Evan the pirate.
I tried to do a British accent last night, and I just did a pirate accent.
What?
Like, all right, matey, how are you doing? I'm British. I want some tea and crumpets. How are you?
Wow. You know what, man? I wish every British person talked like a pirate. That make me feel good.
They do in my head, apparently.
They do in my head, apparently. Yar, they're throwing our tea overboard. Yar, yar.
Yar, the Muslims are killing everybody.
What the fuck?
That's my impression of a somebody in London in 2024.
Oh, fact. So anyway, so in the 1980s, so in the 1980s, there was like a bunch of legal shit going on with the Judas Priest case.
Yeah, dude, and
You
Led
know,
Zeppelin too, right?
So yeah, so in 1990, the rock band Judas Priest was taken to court after two young men attempted suicide, allegedly influenced by subliminal messaging in their song "Better by You, Better Than Me." The plaintiffs argued that hidden messages like "Do It" were embedded in the music, pushing the teen towards violent action.
Subscribe.
The band denied these accusations. And yeah, dude, if you ever listen to that song, there's nothing going on about that. You go read the fucking lyrics. There's nothing like that happening. No, that's just two people who attempted to commit suicide, two young teens, kids.
Yeah.
And if you dig into that whole situation, it was literally a situation of they're like, fuck, it didn't work because I didn't actually do it right. And now I'm about to get locked up for being suicidal. So I'm going to blame someone else. Yeah, they just blame someone else because Judas Priest was one of their favorite, like one of the bands that they listened to. And they both were like, we got to get out of this somehow. Oh, mom and dad, it was the band.
Do you think backwashing is a hoax? Not backmasking, I'm sorry, is a hoax or a false subliminal messaging thing?
Sorry, repeat that again?
Do you think backmasking, which is what is referred to as subliminal messaging in music by playing the album backwards, is called backmasking?
It depends on if there's actually something there. I think I think it's entirely possible to do it. The question is that has there been real cases of it through like the popularized ones that we've heard
Yes,
of, like
there are.
Stairway to Heaven and
Beatles did it.
Kiss, how they tried to say that, because people call Kiss Night in Satan's Service.
Yeah.
The crazy Catholics did, the hard fucking old school Catholics. You can Catholic my balls. They were like, oh my gosh, it's the devil's music. Blah, blah, blah. I know that Beatles did it, and they really actually did do it. But the Beatles are a bunch of pieces of shit anyways. I don't know why people idolize the fucking Beatles. I don't get it. I listened to the Beatles as a kid. My parents listened to the Beatles. I like some of their songs, actually. Twist and Shout's dope. But the thing is, twist and shout, baby.
It's a hand job.
Yes. Or other things. But no, it was just, like the Beatles, they did it. But the Beatles are a bunch of fucking cunts anyways. They were. Dude, John Lennon, he was a piece of fucking shit.
Used to beat.
And everyone idolized him like, oh, he's all about peace. Dude, he would beat the shit out of women.
Yeah, all the time.
All the fucking time. And on top of that, he assaulted fucking his other bandmate when they first, numerous times.
Paul McCartney?
Yeah. He did that several times. Paul McCartney tries to act like that never happened anymore.
A lot of them are drug addicts, too.
Oh, yeah.
Junkies.
And this is like the biography they did on John Lennon before he was doing all the fucking drugs and shit.
Mm-hmm.
No, he was just a piece of shit. He was a liar. He pushed the whole peace narrative to make money. He didn't give a fuck about peace. He didn't care about anyone. He was a piece of shit. If you think John Lennon was a good person, you're a fucking idiot. The Beatles were cunts. And their music was dog shit overall. They didn't have that much great music. Everyone wants to idolize all the hippies. And it's like, yeah, because hippies are a bunch of cunts. We already know a bunch about what the hippie movement really was.
How many times can you say that?
I love the word cunt. It rolls off the tongue nice. Nice.
It's actually a hard C. It doesn't roll off the tongue.
I love it. It rolls off my tongue great.
Off the back
Cunt.
of your throat.
Cunt.
Oh, God.
I'm so happy right now. But no, the Beatles were dog shit.
It's because we listened to David Hasselhoff's True Survivor before this podcast. That's why we're in a good mood.
Dude, that song's best. You want to hear a good song, folks, go listen to True Survivor. If you don't like it, fuck yourself. Subscribe.
Tight.
Yeah, I know, right? But anyways, yeah, so the song, there was that situation. And then there was also, they said that Stairway to Heaven whenever you would play Stairway to Heaven backwards, they tried to say there were satanic messages in it. If you guys ever listen to Stairway to Heaven, go play it backwards. There's no satanic message. It just sounds like a fucked up tune because
I think
you're playing a song backwards.
I think a lot of it is like happenstance. Like they just happen to have the words that sound backwards to sound like devil and suicide. It just happenstance. It just happens to be.
There was a lot of cases like that.
Yes, there are.
I wonder what happens if we played our podcast backwards.
It's gonna say
What?
gay, gay, gay.
No, also we play it backwards. It's just gonna be you all of a sudden with a completely different video somehow.
Hi, welcome to my podcast.
No, it's gonna be you staring at the camera, going like, "Satan is your friend. Come over here. We have cookies."
It's a whole new outfit.
Like, dude, so stupid. But anyways, moving on.
That would be a great bit. We need to do that.
Would be a great bit.
We need to do like a 10-minute interlude of me just talking about the devil and how everything's fucking swag, and then just put it into an episode in a split second, and people. That's a good bit. I like that bit. That's funny.
One other form of subliminal messaging. Well, two others really, and this has to do with Disney. So you had, I'm sure I've seen it. I already knew about it before, we ever did the original episode a long time ago about it. Where in the clouds in The Lion King, it spells sex.
Yep.
I've known about that a long time, and you can go back and watch it. You can go watch now. However, if you're going to go watch it on like Disney Plus or something,
they've edited it out.
They've removed it, and same with like it's not the original VHS copy anymore. You had to watch it on the original release copy. Because, that's where it was. They've removed it since then because people know about it and they got rid of it. And if you look into the history of why that was even in there, the guy who did the artwork did it on purpose because he was pissed off at Disney.
Yeah.
That's why he did it. It wasn't for doing a subliminal message in his... No, don't wrong. It was a subliminal thing that he intentionally did. But his motive behind it wasn't to, like, put out a subliminal message for a particular act. It was his way of saying, fuck you, Denny, I'm going to put something fucked up in here because you guys fucked me over.
Yeah.
That's all it was. And the same goes for The Little Mermaid. And I have watched this numerous times. So in the original Little Mermaid, the kingdom is a bunch of dicks.
Yes, it is.
It's a bunch of penises. And then the one of the better moments that my brothers and I, and my siblings, my brother and my sisters, when we were kids, my oldest brother was just like trying to say that in the scene where they're getting married on the boat, right at the end of the film, and it's like the climax of the film, and they're trying to stop the wedding between the Ursula masquerading as Ariel chick. Whenever they're in front of the preacher, the guy
bulge.
He goes like this, and a giant fucking boner.
Yeah,
dude, it's blatant. It's not even like, oh no, that's just them like the animation move. No, it forms a perfect cock, hard on cock with a head and balls.
Yeah, I have a pulled up right here,
and I watch it, and that's on the VHS copy. Now, if you go and watch it now, like the Disney Plus version, anything that's out now, no, they removed all that stuff. Like even the kingdom doesn't even have penises in it anymore. You couldn't get around that. Like the VHS copy, in the 90s when it came out, nothing but dicks everywhere. Like it was just it was in your face. There was numerous dicks. Like it was a dick party, dude.
There's one
there was so many dicks.
There's one of Mickey Mouse holding Minnie Mouse, and Minnie Mouse's dress is straight up just a penis.
Big old giant dick.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
There's one the Lion King where Simba is sitting with his father, and it's the cover photo of the movie, and it's just a girl's ass in a thong.
Oh hell yeah, brother! I'm here for that. No wonder I like The Lion King. No wonder I used to hold that VHS copy and just stare at it. I was like, I don't know why I like this cover so much.
That's not a lion's face. That's a butt.
Honey, what are you looking at? Booty. Yar, this booty shimbers me timbers.
What?
Making me go all pirate over here. Yar, matey.
No, you're just being British.
You're just being British, mate.
You're just being British.
I
Is
just
that
Hugh Jackman, go
Ew,
little
Jackman?
Australian mate. Okay, help
We've lost the
myself.
plot a little bit again, huh?
Oh yeah, we have. But anyways, moving on. So let's just move on to it. I want to talk about let's talk about the government. Just briefly touch on the government and corporate use of subliminal messaging. So CIA in the psychological warfare side of things. So like in the Cold War, intelligence agencies like the CIA and everything use subliminal messaging as part of their psychological warfare programs to use it as subtle cues to manipulate public perception and behavior and on a geopolitical context level. And yeah, and that's something that we're doing now. That's just with that. That's not even talking about MK Ultra that was happening, and we already know MK Ultra still goes on. It's just under a different umbrella term now.
Do you remember what it's referred to as?
I think Monarch.
I think it is
I think
Monarch.
it's
I think
Project
you're right.
Monarch.
I
I
think
think that's what supposedly is the new name of it, but I'm not 100% on that. I don't remember what it was, but that's pretty much what that on that side of things. So, but I want to talk about how it plays into today's society, and what it's evolved into and what it's become now. So in recent years, with all the tech advancements that have happened, it's allowed people to explore subliminal messaging with more precision. And while these were, since they're utilizing this, type of methodology, neuroscience and psychology have shed light on, the potential of it and the influence in now.
This
Because
is
now
so scary. This part, the new modern subliminal messaging is so fucking scary to me.
Yeah, like a lot of their stuff now, since they've done neurological studies on it, and with all the scientific advancements and tech advancements, one of them is called emotional priming.
Ugh.
It's where they do subliminal exposure to emotionally charged images, and like smiling faces or threatening expressions to influence mood and decision making through these types of effects for short-lived moments. So they'll do it to get a result in a short amount of time, but the result only lasts a short amount of time as well. So this is like short type of tool. So it's not meant to be for longevity. It's meant for in the moment. If we want to influence you for the next 2 hours, we're going to utilize this. And this is this study came out talking about how they utilize this in 2022. Basically, they were doing this thing where they were demonstrating that people who are subliminally exposed to positive imagery were more likely to be generous in decisions immediately afterwards. And then, same goes for the negative imagery. It was showing that it wasn't saying that like more likely. I shouldn't have worded it that way. It was saying that, like, so on a ratio, because it was talking about percentages. So on a ratio, so let's say it was basically saying like 99% of people who are exposed to it would act in the way they wanted them to. So basically, let's say you had 10 people and you did that to 10 people, 9 out of the 10 would adhere to the subliminal messaging that was happening. Imagery
so the
that was
emotional
happening.
imagery and things like that, like examples of that are
TV,
are using
Hollywood.
Or it's
everything.
It's subtler than that, right? So in the movies you're watching, the color red in horror movies means danger, and the color blue means safety and happiness. So you then begin to
Oh God, no wonder I'm fucked up and find myself in bad situations. I like the color red. I see it. I'm like, oh fuck yeah, red. I trust that shit. Walk right on in.
you then begin to associate red with bad and blue with good, and that then is turned into a political
weird.
environment. Absolutely,
In my head, I associate blue with bad. Instinctually, I do.
That's interesting,
And that's because blue is what shows up when you beat someone, bruising.
yeah, it's black
That's
and
what.
blue, right?
That's where
Black and blue, yeah.
my head goes to. Not really the black part. I'm not racist. Come on, man. I'm talking about blue. You brought up black. That's wrong, dude. Come on.
You don't beat somebody blue. You beat somebody black and blue, because blood turns like a dark black, brown, and blue whenever it becomes coagulated and dry.
Is that how cops in the 80s got away with beating black guys?
No comment.
Because they didn't turn black and blue. They just got a little bit more, maybe some blue in there, but it just got masqueraded as black. We knew what the cops were up to, you fucking pieces of shit.
Rodney King, baby.
Everything I say about you, I mean about myself. Anyways, moving on.
But that also goes to like economic disasters and social unrest. They're combined together with these colors of the candidate's name and political agenda, and they tie them together with colors. That's why they wear red ties, blue ties, these things like that to signify political standards. And then advertisements will use blue to push across an agenda, and then they'll get red to push against an agenda. So if you watch an alternate hatred political advertisement to hate the other party, they'll use their color to say a good thing and their color to say a bad thing. So where you are then brainwashed and manipulated to think the color of the party is bad.
Yeah.
It's a very upfront thing that they use, and it started in movies, in horror movies and happy movies alike. So if you look at rom-com movie covers, they're like blue and yellows and greens. So you're happy and fun. They're funny. They're lighthearted. And then you'll watch like a scary movie cover, and it's all deep reds. So it's a red, bad, blue, good sort of
with
thing.
like different dark colors and shades of gray, and and then like orange, yellow kind of tones, like that low, like warmer color tones, but they're like dimmed way the fuck down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is weird because those are like my happy colors, man. That makes me feel good. Is that weird?
Yeah, that. I mean,
you know what bothers me the most? You know what colors do bother me? It's black and white.
That's fair.
That's what makes me instinctually want to say it's threatening.
Oh, then
Like, there's
don't
a
watch
danger.
Lyndon B. Johnson's Daisy ad about nuclear war because it's all in black and white.
I know why. I'm pretty positive I know why I associate like black and white films, right? For some reason, I know the reason. It's because when I was a kid, I watched the original Exorcist when I was literally like 5 or 6.
Great movie. Oh, dude, you need to watch the movie Deliverance. It's the modern day fucking Exorcist. It's fantastic.
I'm gonna have to watch it.
It's so good.
I love the Exorcist. It's pure art. I don't even consider it a movie. I just call it art. It's like a moving canvas to me. It's amazing. But the reason why the black and white aspect bothered me, that movie's in color. But when it shows Pazuzu, the demon, how it flashed in when the priest has nightmares, and it shows Pazuzu's face flash on there, it's in black and white. It's not in color. And it terrified the fuck out of me as a kid. You know, I shouldn't have been watching it anyways. I was forced to watch it by an older sibling. But I'll tell you right now, I ended up not being a fucking pussy, though, when I was an adult. Desensitized me, man. Now when I see fucked up shit, I'm like,
yeah, whatever.
Dude had a bad day.
Yeah, whatever.
That was weird.
That was strange.
Way to grow the fuck up, monitor. Why'd you just turn off? But I was just talking about Pazuzu, and we got electrical shit going on. You know, there was a seance in this room that happened once.
Ooh, so I want to bring on. So speaking of seances, I have reached out to a medium to come on the show to do a mediumship with you.
Oh,
and to do it.
Is it gonna happen?
Yeah. I've reached out to them. They're interested, and I also want to do a tarot card reading as well on podcasts. I think that'd be interesting just to see
tarot cards. Tarot. Isn't there like a T on the end? Right.
I think
and
it's tarot. It's tarot. It's Greek in nature.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm
Romanian.
Anytime if they do this and they do come on here and they're gonna do this to me, I'm gonna in their tarot cards, right? I'm gonna replace the T with a C and then pronounce and then make sure to say the T on the end and be like carrot cards.
Oh,
got it. And then they're gonna be like, "You're offending me," and I'm gonna be like, "Hey, I'm not putting my faith in magical cards, okay? I'm not Gambit. I can't just charge shit and make them go boom." You know,
The Gambit movie is gonna be pretty cool.
I want to see the Wolverine and Gambit rendition from the comics where it was Wolverine and Gambit.
Rule 34,
Stuff.
Ben, that's so weird.
What? No. So Wolverine and Gambit had their own like kind of comic series going there for a while. It was like where they fought against Mastermind. He was manipulating.
Well, they're definitely going to do that. That's
but
why
I want to see the ultimate scene where they're pitted against each other.
they're going to do that. They're going to do that.
Wolverine kills Gambit.
I know
in it.
they're going to do that. Yeah, they're going to do that.
Shrink. They didn't.
That's why they produced.
But it was actually on his head because Mastermind was fucking.
We're getting distracted.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So there, in everyday social media usage as well, hashtags are a form of subliminal messaging as well. Think Me Too, Black Lives Matter, think MAGA, think all these things that are in your everyday culture. These things are subliminally messaged and used by indoctrination in three-letter corporations and organizations to manipulate your brain.
It was already whistleblowing on with the CIA for the BLM movement.
Mm-hmm.
The CIA was involved in that.
Yes,
too.
they were.
And the CIA would do these things where if you were on a website and you were scrolling, they would have the BLM font, the actual character font that they would use for it. They would have a capital B at one point in the article. And they would make sure that the start of each, like randomly in these paragraphs, they would make sure it would start with a capital B that was of a larger font size in the same font as the BLM. And they would do it, and then so all of a sudden, like, the first paragraph would have a giant capital
Is
B.
it real?
Yeah, that
I
actually
didn't
happened.
know about that. That's
Yeah.
wild.
Oh, yeah, that was happening. Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's public knowledge. Oh, I mean, it's been whistleblown about.
What?
But, yeah, it's actually in the FOIA docs. You can look it up. It's literally in the FOIA docs. I wish I had saved that link. That was something I came across. When did I come across that? I can't even remember when I did that. I think maybe less than a year ago I read about it. Something like that.
The font is called Nickel Gothic, by the way.
Ugh. Goths. Posers.
That's subliminal messaging. Ben has been advertised by the corporate governments to think that goths are weird and posers and all that nonsense. That's more subliminal messaging. Come for you live at Smartly Uneducated.
Subscribe.
But yeah,
What?
we said the same thing. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
subliminal messaging has gone
Yeah.
from being in your basic movies, basic advertisements, and things like that to being in front of your face on your cell phone 24/7 and on your computer at work and just everywhere around you in a day-to-day basis, right?
Mm-hmm.
So pay attention to what you're ingesting because it will affect your mindset. YouTube is very addicting because they subliminally message you to want to stay on all the time. And
Yeah. One of the things that they're doing right now with influencers, like these people who pretend to be influencers, right? What they'll do is brands will have influencers not actually advertise their product, like push it and vocalize talking about it. What they'll have them do is place the product for incidentally marketing the product by having it sit in the background somewhere, something small, right? So when you're watching it, as they're doing stuff, they literally work with these influencers and say, hey, you need to have it in this point in the camera, and you can never move past this one point. And when you do move, it needs to always be in this one particular focus. So whenever it moves, it emphasizes it way in the background. And that is something they do. And then also another fun fact for all you little cunts out there, when it comes to subliminal messaging, or not even influencers. A good chunk of influencers aren't even real. They're AI generated.
psyops, baby.
No, AI generated.
I believe that.
100%. In fact, there's they did a whole fucking deep dive into it where basically these influencer accounts, some of the biggest ones out there, they're not even the people don't actually exist. It's 100% AI generated, and you can't tell. Like I have said before, if it's the POV view and it's just from one point of view looking around, it does it seamlessly. It makes it look ultra realistic. You cannot tell a difference to the visual eye. Now, if they're on a moving object, but it's a POV from someone on an object that's moving, so there's a lot of movement in the camera, like they're moving down some stretch of destination, basically these that's where you can see the tearing. That's where you can tell that it's fake, because then all of a sudden it kind of looks like you're playing a first person shooter
Yes.
almost to it, you know, and that's where it starts to bleed through, and you, because it can't render it as well as from a fixed point, isolated position that's just looking around like this. It does that flawlessly. But if there's too much movement, so the body is actually moving, and it's like on a boat going down a river, and it's a POV of that while they're on the boat and it's moving real fast, that's where it starts looking like a first person shooter game. And then that's where you can tell the difference to the visual eye. So they did a deep dive into it, investigating this stuff, and they found out that almost like over 50% of influencers that you see, that you follow, that you think are real people, who you message and they message you back, 100% AI generated. You're not even talking to a real person when they message you back. It's all fake. That's something that actually, and if people don't want to agree with me on that, well, you're a fucking idiot.
Well, that's the
Congrats.
that's the dead internet theory, right? We've talked about that before. The
Yep.
dead internet.
Yep.
Most of the internet is just AI. It's fake, and most of it is used to just propagate you to buy things and want to have a opinion that is different from others. They're just trying to separate us.
Yep.
The ultimate factor here is they don't want us together. They don't want us to be a congruent organization. Civilians are way more powerful than any sort of government entity. So
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I had it right here. It was in 2023. This was released about the AI generated content.
I think we talked about it during the dead internet theory episode, is that
Yep.
most of the internet and things that you're seeing
are not people.
are not. They're all robots. They're all computer
Bots,
generated.
algorithms doing its job. Yep. Narrow AI, utilizing narrow AI with what was the other one called? Because the narrow AI is where it's like stuck in one fixed place.
I'm just trying to bring to light that we are being manipulated, right? I'm just trying to bring to light that if you are watching something and you're buying it because somebody tells you that it's a useful device, you have just been manipulated and brainwashed, and now you are part of that cog, and now you are going to be buying a lot of other things because you just bought that device. Now they're going to be pushing things in front of you over and over and over and over again because you spend your money on useless shit.
Yeah.
And they keep you poor to do that.
One of the other ones that they're really hitting against right now in the technology spectrum is VR.
Oh, video games, dude. It's
VR
dangerous.
environments. So when you're wearing the whole headset and you're fully submersed like that, they have tons of different subliminal messages that they're actually incorporating into a lot of games that people aren't realizing is happening to them.
Colors, shapes,
they're actually
movements.
They'll have, like, when you're playing the game, like different like demo games, like how you can get all those like weird games where it's like a survival thing or whatever, and you're like in an apartment and there's supposedly zombies out there and you're supposed to survive, and it's a VR game, and all of a sudden you look out the balcony in the game, because you can YouTube these videos, and there are YouTube people who point it out that like all of a sudden when you're looking out the window, the moment if you look a certain way, if you turn your head to the right, like look panning across at a certain speed, you see it start spelling words in the buildings and then like with the windows. It's like they start to rearrange in the words, but then the moment you stop, it's all of a sudden it never happened.
No way.
Yeah, no, that's on YouTube. Like there's people who put videos up showing it. Going,
that's
like,
freaky.
Like, isn't this fucking weird? Like, and then of course there's people in comments going like, oh, it's just because of doing this, it's trying to re-render. It's like, bitch, it's literally spelling a word clear as day. It's not re-rendering shit. That's intentional. Like, tell me you're retarded without telling me you're retarded. Okay, cool. Yeah, dumb.
Well, then that comes to the comments that most of the comments are probably AIs trying to defend a sort of organizational theme. Like, I don't mean to bring up politics, but you can look at Kamala Harris's comment sections that they're all just super based individuals, like, yes, queen, slay sort of thing, right? So the bots are taking over the mindset that you are trying to fight against.
Yeah. So, and what they're doing in political campaigns is they're utilizing two really powerful tools. They're using micro messaging and they're using emotional priming, which we were just talking about with the imagery. The imagery
colors
shit that
and
would
shapes
cause you to get emotional about certain things, whether it be positive or negative. And you know, when it comes to micro messaging, they're using things like you were saying, like color red, color blue, things like that, but they're also embedding like text in colors that you can't perceive because it happens too fast.
Hmm.
When the color, because it's technically, it's not there's showing a still image of a color somewhere. It's actually a color that's moving. You just don't know it's moving because it looks like it's a still image of a color, like a backdrop, right?
Interesting.
When really it's actually a moving image, and it's actually putting words that are in red that you visually cannot perceive with your conscious mind. And then all of a sudden, like basically there's a whole thing on it, and it's something they discovered back in the 60s and 70s. Oh, MK Ultra.
Wait a second.
MK Ultra, baby. But basically, when they would play a video of a solid color, you think it's just a still image, just playing for 30 seconds. When really it's an image that's moving, it's panning. You just can't tell because it's one solid color, no different shades, and there's words. There's like words going across like sentences in this of the same color, so you cannot visually tell a difference. But then all of a sudden, those people would be like have a particular narrative in their head when they wake up the next morning, or maybe a couple days later, or whatever it is, whatever the time frame is, and it was what was being said in that video that they were being pushed to. So and they do that in political campaigns.
I would love to see an example of that.
Yeah, and that's where it gets weird, because it's like I want to see examples of it, and then when you start to look at the stuff, it's in the FOIA docs.
Yeah.
It's in the FOIA docs. It's like, wow, why are people not reading the FOIA docs more often about this type of shit? Because unless it's a disinformation campaign, like to make you think that they have all this power.
Dude, I know.
Like it gets really weird. But yeah, we were talking about emotional pricing, and then of course social media algorithms, where they intentionally push echo chambers and bias reinforcement, and then subliminal bias in like content delivery. In fact, we just mentioned it, and it already came public. Mark Zuckerberg already admitted
Yes, he did.
that they were intentionally, subverting and not allowing anything that was central or right leaning in any capacity.
Yep.
To be pushed across the network. They even said that they intentionally were subverting anything that had to do with a particular virus that went on in 2020. When even he admitted that they knew that what they were saying was not wrong, but they were taking funds. They were getting paid. Oh yeah, dude. Zuckerberg should be in jail. He intentionally did it. He had fully admitted it. He was like, yeah, I intentionally helped work against the American people in a million fucking ways.
I hope
he goes to fucking jail, and I hope it gets fucked in the ass, that fucking alien looking cunt. You ever seen that bitch drink water? Anyone drinks water that needs to get fucking thrown in jail. Well, that's fucking disgusting. What's wrong with you?
That was a hard stance. Don't flip to the camera after you say all that shit.
I gotta hide now. I'm trying to hide.
I hope that there's somebody out there who is a prolific hacker and some sort of individual who is able to break into these large conglomerations like Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and absolutely just delete the entire server. I think that would be beneficial to society as a whole, to just delete all of these awful social media platforms, even though we use them for our personal gain and for our use of media and news broadcasting, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, it would be better for society if these things didn't exist. Mm-hmm. But then they would just become newspapers and magazines and articles and papers that you would read and be manipulated, and the televisions that are in Times Square and on billboards that you're driving past would have them on there now. Who's to say they're not already on there, right?
Yeah.
I know in Texas they have the LED billboard screens that you can drive by, and they're changing advertisements every 20 seconds or 10 seconds. And who's to say that there isn't a subliminal message on there, right?
Well, subliminal messaging goes hand in hand with subliminal training too.
Ooh, uh-oh.
Subliminal training is its own thing, and people don't talk about that. It's this, the Pavlov effect. Where they feed the dog, they ring the bell, or was it feeding the dog, ring the bell, or whatever?
Zap the dog. If
they do that with us in social media. That's why they have tone. That's why they have notification tones on phones. That's why randomly your iPhone. I know everyone's experienced this. You know how
Phantom
everyone's
vibrations.
phantom vibration. It makes you want to check your fucking
Yes, it
phone.
does.
It's building that recourse to make you pull your phone up, look at it, put your face in your phone, put your face in your phone. And the phantom vibrations is a very real thing. There's a whole thing about the guy who used to work at Google, who like spoke out about the AI that Google has. He talks about that because they worked hand in hand with Apple for that,
That's wild.
because they wanted people to be addicted to the phone. Like, because this is when Apple was struggling a little bit, when whatever iPhone model came out, and it was like tanking. It was having a hard time. And so they were trying to figure out a way to get people to really want to be on that iPhone. And that was something that they worked with Google on. And Google, they made that. That is still something that happens. I feel my phone randomly vibrate in my pocket. You know what I do with that bitch?
Even if it's not in my pocket, my leg vibrates as if it's there.
Yeah, you know what I do with that bitch? Whenever I feel that, I don't even check my phone. I pull it out of my pocket and I just throw it on my desk. I slide it away from me. It's like, no, fuck you, bitch. I'm aware. I'm awake. My eyes are open. I've seen some things,
So
man. and some stuff.
whenever you pick your phone up and it turns on, and whenever it sees your face, it flashes infrared lights every 10 seconds. So that your eyes and your brain become addicted to the feeling of the infrared light being flashed onto it.
I want to try an experiment where, you know how they have the EMF blocking like beanies.
Oh my
and
god,
hats?
I want that stuff so bad. I want to build my entire house in one.
I want to buy an EMF hat and use my phone like normal and see if like I have less desire to even.
You definitely will.
I want to start wearing an EMF hat. I'll wear a hat the rest of my goddamn life if that. I want to line this whole room in it.
Yeah, I want to honestly like build my bedroom around an EMF chamber, a Faraday cage.
Yeah.
Faraday cage. I said Ferrari.
Ferrari.
Ferrari
Well,
cage.
Everyone buy a Ferrari. Subliminal messaging by Smiley Educated. You can afford it. It's okay. It's just a Ferrari.
Take out a loan. Take out a credit line.
Start whispering that in the mic every 5 seconds.
If you have made it this far into the episode, thank you so very much. Make sure that you are liking, subscribing, sending comments. The algorithm needs it desperately. I know that we are talking about how subliminal messaging is ruining society, but we need it so that you all put it out to the world that people need to listen to us.
Oh yeah.
We try our best to bring information to you all that is direly important in our thought process, in our regard, much like the Tartarian episode, much like Jay Gulanello coming on for Perpetual Health. If you are liking us, make sure you share it to everybody you know. Force your grandma, force your dog to watch us, listen to us. Make sure you email us at smartlyanducated@gmail.com. It is a real email. It is a real email. I promise you that. Share it around, repost it on TikTok, follow us everywhere, Instagram, you name it, we are everywhere. So thank you very much. Back to the episode, huh?
Yeah, and that's all I got. I think this.
Back to the episode. And that's all I got.
That's it, man. We are done. There's nothing else. No, we could. There's many
As always, we can go on for another 4 hours rambling about the messages that are being pushed in front of you and the way that society has stopped you from reading books and stopped you from going outside and touching grass and enjoying nature.
I want to say that the one of the greatest places. When I say great, I'm not meaning great as in awesome. I'm just meaning that it is where it's happening the most. There are two places that subliminal messaging and training is happening the most. And it's one in the public education system.
Oh my God! Yes, we need to do a whole fucking episode on that. That's
the
awful.
the colleges. That's where subliminal training and overt training is happening. It's where it converts from subliminal training as a child that you're going through in the public education system, and then once you're in college,
I want to find
it morphs. It turns into, over the course of your freshman going into your sophomore year, it switches from being subliminal to overt training.
I wonder if there's an education expert who knows what has happened to our education systems in America.
We just need to hunt down one of them Skull and Bones members. Man.
Easier said than done, right?
I'm just gonna show him and be like, dude, I'm part of the Skull and Bones too. I whipped a dude. Come on.
Hey, yo, I came out of a casket.
Dude, I spent like 4 hours in there while they fucking told me to fucking,
Tell me my deepest, darkest sexual fantasies, dude.
I even took off my fucking boxes, dude.
I fake killed a woman for it, dude. I
I had to do it for real.
oh, yikes. They gave me 15 grand.
Yeah, dude, I took one look at her carcass and I said, put it back. She's not done yet.
She's got to do a little bit more basting.
Oh. I just envisioned a turkey baster.
Anyway.
Yo, you need some sperm. You need to get fucking pregnant. Just order sperm online. People send an envelope. It's a little crusty, but just tell them to put it inside of a turkey baster. You'll be all right. It's cool. You're the one who told me about that dude sending sperm to people in envelopes.
I know.
AIDS. Watch out, dude. Syphilis is still a very dangerous disease. Kills a lot of people. Anyways, on that note, thank you guys for tuning in. I think this was a great episode.
This is fun. I mean, just turn your phone off, turn your laptop off, go say hi to your neighbor. I say this at the end of every episode. Just go say hi to somebody. Talk to the people in your everyday life, because society and the world, as scary as it is and as dangerous it is, they're trying to change your mind and manipulate you. Go say hi to somebody. Everybody is typically pretty nice and kind. They
Dude, I just like randomly was just like, I like things that are curvy. And then I look to my right, and there's still that image of
the ice cube,
the Coca-Cola, and it says above it, "Feel the curves." I'm like, no wonder. I'm like, in my head right now, I'm just like, man, I wish it was just me and my wife in this house right now. I need some curviness. I need some curvy action. I need some curvy exposure. God, blame Coca-Cola. It's that image. Sorry, Evan would be affected if it had it in like small, very small text saying in a Yank accent.
I don't like to talk about sex.
And then he would just randomly hear his wife going, "What are you doing? Get back here.
Hey, Buddha de Beppo. Fogo de Chow.
Beepity boppity boop." Have you ever gotten her to just say that as just say the line of like beepity boppity?
I've had her say like Giuseppe, what are you doing? And like
I'm walking here.
Gabba de goop and all that stuff. I've had her say that.
You ever there like quote like Taxi Driver? Or
Of course. Oh my God, we watched that movie. There's a scene where he yells at his tire for going flat. He goes like Gabba de gabu, and she's like, yeah, that's a real thing. I'm like, there ain't no fucking way that's real.
There ain't no fucking way that's real. And it's like, when did they let people who eat crayons function as adults?
That's unnecessarily rude.
It was a joke. It was a joke. Come on. We all know I love Italians.
But
I like the food.
I replayed the scene of him yelling at his flat tire like 8 times because the things he says is just insane. He's like, "Gabadeodo," and then I'm like, it's wild. It's very funny.
I just, although too bad De Niro's gone fucking insane as an adult light.
His hair, he has pink hair right now.
Bro, he's gone fucking cuckoo. It's like, what happened to you, Taxi Driver? You were a bad motherfucker at one point. Now you're just like, ugh. Like,
that's what happens when you have a baby at 90 years old.
Oh my God. Yeah, dude. Oh my God. I can't believe. Dude, you're going to be dead before your kid's even fucking 10. What a piece of shit. That's
know.
just being an irresponsible father.
Yes, it is.
Unless he's got connections into the STEMIs. And then also like Disney vibes. Walt Disney vibes where it's like cryostasis.
Freeze me.
Freeze me for about 5 more years. It's going to release. I know these things because I have connections.
I mean, why would they freeze all these heads? We talked about that before, right? Where they have all these frozen heads and all the DNA of all these
there's
people.
There's another side of that where they already know that DNA, they've done the whole thing. They've already proved they can do it. That guy, that it's already public knowledge.
Cloning?
No, I'm talking about where they can store data.
Yeah.
Data and DNA. And it's like one strand of DNA can hold like whatever trillion terabytes of data. That's insane. And it makes me wonder, like, what data if you were to take my DNA and get it to translate and upload into a computer interface, right, of data, what would it say? I'm curious of what mine would say.
I'm gay. That's what it would say. That's
Oh, I'm not even gonna. You know what I mean? I don't know what it's gonna say. I have a feeling like it's gonna be like I'm gay, and then all of a sudden yours gonna be up there and like I want to try to be gay.
Anyway, I have to pee so
I
bad.
have to pee so bad, dude. That's why I keep sitting here like fucking the Jack Black's character from Shark Tale when he's like,
Oh my
looks at
god,
his son, he's like,
did you see the new Minecraft movie trailer?
dude? It looks horrible.
I cannot wait to watch it.
I have no desire to go anywhere near that because like it just looks so fucking stupid.
I will not pay to watch it, but I'm
it's
excited
just
to see it.
it looks worse than the new Jumanji movies.
It looks
and that
worse
says
than
something
the
because the new
Borderlands
Jumanji
movie.
movies are. Oh my god. Don't even, dude. I'm a fan of Borderlands. Like, I love the games.
Me too.
And I saw the trailer for it. And I'm like, you put Kevin Hart as Roland? What the fuck were you thinking?
You put Jack Black as Claptrap.
I mean, I'm not 100% against that necessarily. He's kind of got the energy for it, like as just who he is as a person. Like he could totally bring that. But why didn't you just use like the actual Claptrap voice?
Yeah,
didn't
they already have voice actors for this character.
Yeah, why didn't they just have Claptrap? That makes no sense to me. But the fact that they put Kevin Hart as Roland, you took a 5 foot tall midget guy
On a
and made
7 foot
him
tall character,
and then you had him doing like as if he's bad. No one takes Kevin Hart seriously. Like
Yeah.
you took Borderlands and made it into a fucking not even just a joke of itself.
because it is a funny game, right? But anyway,
But they took elements they shouldn't have made stupid and funny,
Yeah.
and then decided to. Someone leaked it on YouTube. I already watched it.
oh really?
Yeah, I watched it for free on YouTube. It got pulled down.
I watched Deadpool and Wolverine free on YouTube.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Oh, you ruined it for yourself.
I did.
I watched it. Me and my wife and oldest went and saw it in theater, and it was fun.
Yeah,
I enjoyed
it's just a fun movie. Good, nice way to waste 2 hours.
Yeah, it was fun.
Anyway, can we please end this? I have to pee. I'm
so
turning
bad.
yellow.
I have to pee so bad. That's what your DNA is gonna say. I'm turning yellow. 10 terabytes of data worth of. I'm turning yellow. I'm turning yellow.
I gotta pee. I gotta pee. I gotta pee. I gotta pee.
Are we done yet? Are we done yet? I gotta pee. Are we done yet?
Bye, everybody. Thank you
All
for
right, bye,
listening.
guys.
Like,
See you guys later. What?
bye.